What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, returning to WrestleMania debates, episode 5. I can't believe we're already at episode 5. I got my book right here, ready to read some notes just in case. But let's talk about what people consider to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock headline, but people talk about that epic finale from WrestleMania 17. And that is the Stone Cold Steve Austin heel turn. Now, was Steve Austin's heel turn in the long run good for business? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at how it all came down. So, right off the bat, after Stone Cold Steve Austin got ran over by a car. They needed another top babyface in the company, and sure enough, that guy ended up being The Rock, who previously was the heel in all of this, but little by little became one of the most over guys in the company. And from there on, uh, we had multiple great classic matches and feuds with Rock and Triple H, Angle and The Rock, Angle and Triple H. There was a series of just massive names, like those three names I already named, as well as Chris Benoit, Kane, The Undertaker, all kinds of great talent to look out for. Chris Jericho, that's another one. But yeah, so at one point, yes, it hurt that they didn't have Austin, but they were still building up stars. And back in the day, it was awesome to build stars. But you can never disagree that Steve Austin was always going to be the top babyface. We had that epic counter of like who ran over Austin, which became Rikishi of all people. Why? Because he did it for The Rock. And fortunately, that never went anywhere. That's the honest truth. It really didn't go places. I could have gone somewhere, but it didn't. And sure enough, Stone Cold became won the Royal Rumble for the third time in his career, third time ever. And then from there we had The Rock, who was one of the most over faces of all time, beating Kurt Angle, who was probably red hot in his first year. And they needed The Rock and Steve Austin to sell because those are literally the two top baby faces at the time. So it's like the ultimate baby face match with Rock being semi-heel. So the build-up was already Rock semi-heel and Steve Austin ultimate baby face. And it was one of the greatest matches of all time. Bar none, one of the greatest matches that it ever had. But it is popular for that epic finale, which is McMahon coming out and screwing over The Rock, and then Steve Austin takes advantage and wins. So, was the heel turn good for business? Well, in the long run, 2001 was more famous for the invasion storyline, but that is a separate video for in itself. After the aftermath of Stone Cold Steve Austin, it was like they built the two-man power trip, which was Austin and Triple H, who hated each other's guts, but all of a sudden they team up because they're the two top heels. And when Triple H got injured, then they brought in Kurt Angle, but then they started turning on each other, and then Stone Cold easily turned heel twice. That I don't even think that was possible, turning heel twice, where he joined the Alliance. He then went on to this like weird spree of like, I'm still the champion, but I'm not that relevant anymore. Then we had WrestleMania 18. Stone Cold wasn't even in the final two in the Royal Rumble, but he ended up facing Scott Hall in like the fifth or sixth match on WrestleMania 18. Yes, Stone Cold Steve Austin went from the main event to WrestleMania to like the fifth match on the show. Huh? A guy who has been helping out your business for years and years, and you had nothing great for the guy. You couldn't put him against Hogan. You couldn't put him against Triple H. You couldn't put him against Chris Jericho. No, you had to put him in the very, very undercard of the show. Disrespectful, really horrible, because this heel turn hurt everything in the long run. Now, people have said that the real reason why Stone Cold's heel turn was the worst thing that could happen. You could argue that the invasion could have like been the biggest cause of the whole ratings drop, because the ratings were terrible in 2001, whether you like to admit it or not. But it all started the second Austin shaked Vince's hand. Now, I will say this: if the heel turn never happened, I don't know whether or not people would have remembered the main event of Austin and The Rock. I thought about it, and maybe, maybe not. But why was Stone Cold Steve Austin the badass heel? He could have worked as a heel, but here's the problem. He teamed up with Triple H, and he teamed up with Vince. No, if you wanted to turn him heel, why get those two involved? You could have easily had a heel Austin and still carry the company, or try to carry the company, but he should have been a solo act. He shouldn't have been out here goofing off, playing guitars with Kurt Angle. That was ridiculous. And it hurt everybody in the long run. Like I said, the invasion or the death of WCW could have easily been that, but when WCW died, it should have continued as this epic show, epic year that could have been like, oh, listen, even though WCW's dead, we're still gonna give it our absolute best. And they didn't. They did not do it. And ever since then, the company has just been downhill from here. It went from WWF to WWE. That's a whole separate video in itself with the whole fucking panda shit. But they really didn't know where to go with Austin as a heel. And there was really no reason to turn him heel, because people still love Stone Cold Steve Austin. People still thought he was the greatest of all time. It was really hard to boo him. And there was no reason to boo him, because he was awesome at what he did. And then you tone him down, make him a coward, hide from Undertaker and Kane in that shitty ass match with the Brothers of Destruction and the 2-man power trip, which is the most overrated match I have ever seen in my life. Backlash 2001 is pretty fucking overrated. This is the honest truth. I didn't like Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, which people consider a classic. Not the one at Mania 17 this show, but the one in Backlash 2001, the Ultimate Submission match. I hate that match. It was just a bunch of rest holds. But yeah, this was the death of the business, and you couldn't get more actual things there. So yes, the Steve Austin's heel turn was not good for business. It was terrible. It was stupid. It was insanely ridiculous. And it just lost a lot of respect for everybody who loved the WWF at the time. So yeah, that's my honest opinion. The ratings of Raw blew. Stone Cold was the wrong heel to have in the company. That's my honest opinion. The heel turn hurt the business. It's me, the AOLE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.